Good evening. Welcome to the Enchanted Piper. I'm Richard, and I'm in my backyard in the lovely land of enchantment, Albuquerque, New Mexico, in this case. I went for a hike in the beautiful Sandia Mountains today with my dog, and I'm currently drinking a delicious La Cumbre Crest Trail IPA in commemorance of that, I suppose. And I'm also having a pipe out of doors into the bargain. So this channel is a channel by a new pipe smoker, myself. I've been practicing the art of pipe smoking for a couple of months, trying to give some helpful hints to other new pipe smokers. I found when I started pipe smoking that there was a steep learning curve, and getting over that hump took some doing. So I'm hoping to provide some helpful hints to other people who might be in that same boat. Now, there are a number of excellent channels out there from more experienced pipe smokers like Button Shop Piper, who I recommend highly, that will help you in this as well. My perspective, however, is somewhat different because I have not been doing this for decades. I've been doing this for months. So the struggles are still fresh in my mind, as it were. So in this episode today, we're going to be talking about how to light a pipe and keep it lit. Because that was initially really embarrassing for me because I just couldn't do it. Like I could get it lit, more or less, and then it would go out, and I would light it again, and it would go out. And I tried to solve this problem by turning my lighter up into a blowtorch, which just burned the tobacco horribly and made it taste bad. So we want to avoid all those problems and have a nice, pleasant, cool smoke where we can taste the tobacco as opposed to having it taste like the bottom of an ashtray. And we also want it to stay lit more. On the other hand, don't get hung up on that. This is something that I've learned. The pipe going out can actually be a good thing. If it's getting too hot and you let it go out, everything will cool down, and then you will have a more pleasant smoke because of that. So don't get too hung up on the pipe going out. It's going to go out regardless. The very first light is a false light, so it's supposed to go out after that anyway. So don't worry about the pipe going out. That's just statement number one. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Also, we're gonna go over packing the pipe, lighting the pipe, and all that here in a minute. I will say this, however, your pipe tamping tool is going to be your best friend in keeping the pipe lit longer without having to keep it hot and keep relighting it. As you smoke, if you tamp down the ash as you're smoking, it will keep an ember on top of the unburned tobacco, which will keep igniting the tobacco so you can keep the smoke going for longer without having to relight. It's definitely not a science. It's more of an art, figuring out when to tamp that tobacco down. You really can't tamp it down too much, I wouldn't say, but you will eventually hear like the air. It'll start to sound different, like it's going through a much less restricted environment, and that's going to mean you want to tamp that down, or it's going to go out. And if it does, once again, no big deal. Anyway, let's start lighting a pipe. So things we're going to need: a tamping tool, a lighter. I really like this one because you can control the flame really well, and you'll notice the flame is really, really small. That's an important thing for getting your tobacco lit, but not burning the tobacco so that it tastes horrible. This lighter, I really, really like it. There are a lot that are similar to this lighter that are very expensive. This one was $25 on Amazon. I don't know. It's a cheap Chinese knockoff, but it's a very good Chinese knockoff because it does exactly what I want it to do, and it didn't cost me thousands of dollars. There are some of these similarly styled lighters that I've seen for exorbitant prices. They're probably nicer. I don't know. This one does everything I need. It's got a tamper built into it, and it's delightful, unless there's wind. Currently, it's a beautiful evening, as you can see, so we don't have to worry about that. I do have a Zippo that is windproof for a windy environment because, well, it actually works and this won't. So there's that. You're also going to need a pipe. This is a estate pipe I got is a Brulor, which is they're inexpensive to begin with, and this one was less expensive than that because it was used. I recommend that as a great way to save money on pipes. I got it for an everyday carrying pipe, just because if it's $40 and it gets lost, it's not going to be heartbreaking. On the other hand, it smokes really, really well. Passes a pipe cleaner great. I really like it. So that worked out really well. Other thing you're going to need, tobacco. In this case, we have Star of the East by Cornell and Deal. A tobacco I really like. It is 50% Latakia, then Turkish and stove red Virginia leaf. There's going to be another video in the series that's going to be discussing different types of tobacco and how you can go about deciding what it is that you are going to want to smoke. So that'll be the next video that'll be coming up next week. I don't know how often I'm going to be putting these out, hopefully regularly. At any rate, first thing we need to do to smoke a pipe, obviously, is get the pipe loaded with tobacco. So I'm going to take this here tobacco and put it in this here pipe. Now, the way I have found is easiest to do for me is a two-step process. I'll take the first pinch of tobacco, and this is not really a pinch, it's just scooping some up, and put it into the bowl, and kind of just knock it down a little bit, so that it's all more or less on the same level, okay? So this is very, very, very lightly packed, and I'm just using this tamper. I'm not really applying pressure, I'm just patting it down so it's all at the same height and there's a flat surface in there. So if we can see this here, that's what that looks like. Okay, so it's really loosely packed and loosely enough that I just inhaled a tobacco leaf. Occasionally I found that when lighting, sometimes it'll be like your draw is great and then you'll inhale a tobacco leaf into the stommel, I believe it's called a stommel, and it'll sort of get stuck there for a little bit and make the draw really hard until eventually it shoots into your mouth, which is, it is what it is. Okay, so that's a really, 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 right now there's no resistance at all when I'm drawing air through the pipe. So that is the first step. The second step will be to get another pinch of tobacco. In this case, I'm actually going to pinch the tobacco. So get some tobacco, and I'm going to, in my case, pinch the living hell out of it. Okay? So I'll pinch it into a plug and shove that in there. Okay? So this tobacco is much, much more densely packed than the first step because I, once again, pinch the living hell out of it. I'm a rock climber, so I've got strong fingers. On the other hand, I also inherited some arthritis from my grandmother, so sometimes they're stronger than other times. Your results may, differ as well. On the other hand, you have this here tamping tool, so if you decide you need that more firmly packed, you can always tamp it down. Right now, I'm not really applying a lot of pressure because I did that with my fingers when I was just pinching it. And it's definitely a little bit more restricted in the draw. I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on the top of that tobacco. You should feel some resistance in drawing air through the pipe, not like a ton, but enough that you can tell there's something in the way. It's not an empty straw, it's a straw with, I don't know, a soda in it or something. So that's pretty good. If you look at the pipe now, looks like that. So looks basically the same. That top layer is not that much more tobacco than it was previously. It is just more densely packed, therefore it didn't take up as much room. That's what that means. Sorry. At any rate, now the first light. So once again, the flame is very, very small. We want to light the tobacco with just the heat of the flame. When we inhale, draw the heat down without drawing the flame down as much as possible. The flame is going to touch tobacco occasionally, that's fine. But we don't want to have a blowtorch here that we're just incinerating our tobacco with, because that will it'll ruin the tobacco. You won't be able to taste the delicious tobacco that you're smoking. remember, I don't remember which cigarette ad it was back in the 70s, but if smoking isn't a pleasure, why bother? Well, hey, if smoking isn't a pleasure, why bother? To make it a pleasure, don't incinerate your tobacco. Little flame, use the heat from the flame to ignite it, not the flame itself. Okay? This is important. It's actually staying lit, which is not supposed to do. There is 50% latakia in this tobacco. That stuff lights really easily, it stays lit really well, and smokes nice and cool. So that's probably why. At any rate, this is the false light or the charring light. And if you notice the tobacco now, it's not all one flat layer. It's now, it caught fire and it sprung up a little bit as it was burning. Now that that's done, you take your tamper and you tamp it back down. Make it flat again. And the second light, we can hope that it will stay lit for us and we can continue smoking the pipe. So. All right. That's now lit. Now I can sit here and smoke with you for the next half an hour or so to smoke this bowl down, and you can watch me tamp it. But it's not really necessary. Just as you're smoking, when you, every once in a while, tamp it down. You notice the amount of smoke I was exhaling there immediately increased once I tamped that ember down so that it was igniting more tobacco. So that tamper will be your best friend in helping to keep the pipe lit and also like ensuring a nice cool smoke when you're not relighting repeatedly. Another thing to keep the pipe lit is don't talk too much. You need to be able to like have a good cadence going, so you're occasionally drawing smoke or air down through the tobacco to keep it lit. Another helpful method for keeping your pipe lit is the breath method. But Mutton Chop Piper has 3 different videos on this, possibly 4, but watch them. They will tell you how to keep your pipe lit more efficiently and also keep it cooler so that you smoke more pleasantly. It's a nice cool smoke. You can taste the smokiness of the latakia. You can taste a little spice from the oriental leaf and the sweetness from the Virginia. That's what you want to have, this experience you want from smoking a pipe. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to some of you. Like I said, hope to be doing more of these in the future. As long as it's fall in New Mexico, I've got this beautiful, beautiful outdoor space. So I'm going to try and get as many films as I can right now. I'm going to have a great evening. I hope you have a great evening as well. It's gone out again.